All right, so I'm speaking with Charly Steinhauer. We're talking about the new Paradox album,
Yeah,
Heresy II, The End of a Legend. Uh,
yeah.
Charlie, this is just such a well written album. I guess it's been 5 years since your last album, and
Yes.
it's just, you can just tell the musicianship is astonishing.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me,
Um,
to us all, because I'm very happy with this lineup, and it was so great to work with these musicians, and they are all permanent members of the band,
okay,
and they are all very happy with this album.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, I was gonna see that you got Alex Blaha back in the band.
Yeah,
And I mean, I know he's a founding member, but I think it's fascinating that you got him back in the band
yeah,
because, obviously he played on he played on the original Paradox albums, but he definitely played on the original Heresy album.
yes. Yes, Axel. Many people say Alex, but his name is Axel.
Oh,
The
I'm sorry,
X
Axel.
comes
Okay,
first. Oh, no problem, no problem. Um, Axel is since 40 years or something, no more than 40 years, my best friend. Also in private times, and so we hang out together. We go together out for lunch and stuff, and he visit me. Um, for all over all the years, he come to my home and we drink coffee together, talking about music. And he quit the drums 25 years or 28 years ago, after the Heresy recordings, when we lost our record deal with Roadrunner Records. And on the last album, on the previous album, Pangea, he was sitting next to me and said to me and asked me, "Hey Charlie, do you think I should start playing drums again?" And I said, "If you have the passion for it, do it." Yes, and so I'm happy that he's in now in the bus.
that's just utterly amazing, especially considering the fact that he seems like he's been playing drums consistently because he's still thrashing and banging and beating the hell out of the skins and everything. It's just so amazing that he hasn't played drums for 25 years.
No, it was a huge process because he went into the rehearsal room each day, and it was not really clear that he made it. He made it, but he did. You hear it. It is awesome how he developed. You know?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, God, it's just he's just totally thrashing, and God, the new album is so thrashing too. I mean, obviously, we all love Heresy, the debut from well over 30 years ago, but
Thanks.
so on the new album, first of all, I love the quote on the back of the booklet that says, "One person's religion is another person's heresy." Is that a real quote, or did Peter Vogt come up with that himself?
Well, uh, I agree with it. It comes from Peter Vogt,
Okay.
who wrote the lyrics, and but I agree. I agree.
Oh, I do too.
I guess everybody should believe in what he believes, and nobody should talk in. It's just a few of it. Um, we had many wars caused by religion,
Oh yeah,
you know, and I guess we the most wars was caused by religion topics, and so it shouldn't be. It shouldn't happen. Why? Everybody has his own beliefs, and he should believe in all. But it's a dangerous topic. It's a dangerous topic because each religion has other views about what should be or not, and then it went to war often. So
yes,
yeah, I
definitely.
guess it's a good sentence. Yes.
Definitely. Well, religion in general leads to sinister thinking.
Yeah.
I remember actually, when I first heard heresy, I always thought product of imagination was, so science, so sci-fi based and everything, and then you
Yes.
kind of crossed over with the heresy album, and I actually was pursuing a master's in theology at the time, so I knew all about the heresy of the Cathars, And I thought it was so fascinating that you chose to talk about that on a thrash album, no less, and talk about that heresy that, these people were heavily persecuted in Montségur in France and everything like that for their
Yeah.
beliefs, which, was just a different version of, what they believed. Now, did
Yes.
did Peter Vogt have anything to do with those lyrics back then, or is he just strictly the new lyrics?
No. Peter, I had over all the years I had contact to Peter Vogt.
Okay.
And I was in 2013, I guess, when he suggested me. He said, "Hey Charlie, I have a story for you. I have a story written in my shelf, and would you be interesting to do another part of a Heresy album?" And when I said, "Oh, this is dangerous because Heresy is a classic, and never touch a classic, you know." And, and I said, if I would do this, it must be an interesting story, and it must sound completely different to the first part, because then I would copy myself. So he is responsible for the new story on that album, and I'm very happy to work with him again. And this all has a reason, because Peter and Nigel and his brother, who wrote also the lyrics for the first part of Heresy, they lived in Germany when
Okay.
when they when we met them first to write the lyrics for the Productive Imagination album and Heresy. But
Okay.
then they left Germany to southern France, and they lived in a castle like this. And Peter was interested in the history of the place he lived, and he lived exactly in that place where all that things happened. Yes,
Wow.
with the Cathars, and so then he came up with this story, and I said, "Hey, sounds interesting." But I was in work for the previous album, Pangea, and I said we have to wait for this for the next album. Maybe we have it's the right time for this story, and because I have to do the music for,
Right. Right.
and it didn't fit to the last album. So on this album, first I had this story, and then in my mind, and I thought this must have atmosphere. This must not be just another thrash album. There must be something in, like a movie, like a journey, you know.
Right.
And it definitely is, because 75 minutes, and it's not getting boring. It goes more and more deeper in this big thing, you know. And we were very proud of this. We are.
Well, and the story has that very strong historical fiction, kind of like what you would have found like a Sabat Dreamweaver or a King Diamond album like The Eye. So it's really cool because even though it's good historical fiction, it really enthralls you in the essence of what's going on. And it's cool because it brings out like the Rosicrucian idea that maybe the blood of Christ was carried through Mary Magdalene, and that maybe her descendants and the last scion. It carries the whole idea of the Cathars, the idea that maybe John the Baptist was truly the Messiah, and Jesus was a pretender to the throne. I think it's all fascinating.
Yes,
And
that's the story. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, and obviously everybody was looking for an alternative. I like the way you have them in the mountains and on journeys and living in very impoverished conditions and everything, because that's how it was. And in that time, they would have been trying to vie for any kind of semblance of truth, because Holy Mother Rome, the Holy See of Rome, was so powerful and so in control that they
Yes,
dominated everything. So it's good to
yeah,
see that, and like you say, it's interesting. It's called heresy because that's what the
yeah.
church calls it, but it's really not. It's really just going against the traditions and the norms and forming your own beliefs, and that's what free will is all about anyway. You know.
Yes, and we did the same in the booklet, like we did in the first part of Heresy. We have printed the story in a short form
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah. You
city
had
booklet.
synopsis at the beginning, right? The prologue
Yes,
synopsis,
in addition to the lyrics, and written a short introduction to each
right?
song. It's very close to the first part. the look of the booklet,
Definitely.
how we did the lyrics in and stuff like this.
Yeah, and it's sadly the booklet's riddled with typos. But you can't help that. It's like finally without a Y and some other stuff, but you can't help it. But otherwise, yeah, I saw the synopsis at the beginning, and boy, when I first had Heresy on Roadrunner in my cassette, I had no
Yeah.
problem reading those lyrics. But now that I get older, I have to get out the magnifying glass to read it.
Yeah, yeah. In the when we had the story from the first Heresy album, we just focused much more on the music. I wasn't so much interested in the topic. We were happy to have some great lyrics. We trusted. It was a blind trust between Peter Vogt and us. So we thought, oh, this is interesting. This is a little bit like a horror, but it is based on a true story, and this it's always interesting if it's based on the true story. So
Right,
it's
right.
I also like movies based on a true
Right,
story.
right. Like
Uh,
In the Name of the
yeah,
Rose or something like that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Well, now, interesting. You mentioned Panagia. It's been 5 years since the last album that you put out. Now, was it true you had some health issues or something that made cause delays or?
um, no, there was oh, huh. After Pangea, we
Okay.
had the chance to for a reunion in the original lineup with
Okay.
Production Virgination,
Okay.
and we worked for 8 or 9 months on that, and it worked good in the beginning. And we were booked on a big festival in Germany, Bang Your Head Festival. We should play with Raven and Vince Neil and I don't know how many in Saturday main stage. And we must cancel. We must have canceled this show because Axel went into a health issue.
Oh,
Yes,
Axel had the health issues.
depression,
Okay.
depression.
Okay.
And it goes deeper and deeper. And he thought he isn't as far as he should be, and he wanted to give 100%. And he said, I can't give 100%. My head is not working. And we said, you can play all these songs. It sounds like we never stopped. And but didn't went in his head, and he had a lot of treatments. And that's why he is in now, because it was a very, very hard time for him, and we split it. And then I had to search for a new lineup after Pangea, because Tilen Hutrap went to Udo,
Yep. Yep. He's
and
on the new UD album. Correct.
yes, and the Gus Rex, the guitar player of Suicidal Angels, and Kostas Milonas, the drummer, was just for session on that album.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought
But
Gus
I
Drax
was
was right.
I knew who I want, and it was great because I was in contact with Ollie over the years as well, and I asked Ollie, and Ollie it was no question for him to join Paradox again, because Ollie Tulane went into Paradox. Ollie left Paradox, and then Tulane came in, yeah, before Pangea. But that has a reason, because Ollie has a health issue called focal dystonia,
Wow.
and it is something with nerves. He couldn't play with fingers anymore, but it was necessary to play with, and it took a long time. He changed into pick playing now, and now that works. And that's why Ollie came back, and he was be able to come back after T-Lane left the band
And you
to
had
Udo.
and you had Christian on Tales of the Weird, so he came back one album
Yes,
later too.
Christian was funny, because I went to a concert, and then a woman came to me. Hey, are you Charly Steinhauer? And I said yes. I called to Christian. I'm an ex-girlfriend from Christian, and I said you are here, and he said tell him some greetings. And it took 2 days, and then we wrote in Facebook, hey, how are you? And man, what's going on? And Christian said, Hey, Charlie, I wanted to ask you 2 years before if there is a place in Paradox. And I said, oh, why you didn't say something? Yes, you are in. Of course you are in, because I like him as a musician, and I like him as a human. He's a great friend. And so I didn't had really to find a search. Search. I don't have to search for this lineup. And now I think I have a perfect lineup, and it came like a shot,
And,
unexpected.
and Christian's a very busy man. He keeps putting out several obscure albums, and now he's got a brand new Eternity's End coming out in a couple of months. They're now signed to Prosthetic, and they just released a single, so he's keeping busy. And his solos
Yes,
on his solo are just amazing. They're just shredding. So,
this
you,
is this is awesome what he do, and he is not just shredding. He works for the song. He do a song in the song with these 25 or 40 seconds he have in a song, and he think about what he play. He just it's wow. For me, it's one of the best guitar players we have in here, and he just lives 75 kilometers around. I guess it's 50 miles from my home, so we can meet, and also private. And by the way, he is back in Obscura. He also played in Obscura again,
yep,
and recorded a new album.
yep.
And yes, I gave him the advice. Please join this band again. He asked, "Are you happy with this? Is it okay if I join Obscura as well?" And I said, "Yes, of course, because I'm a fan of it." And and we have no crossings or something, so it's no problem. Chris is a permanent member and
That's
will
good.
stay.
Have you heard
Will
the Have you heard the new Eternity's End song, Death Rider?
Mm, next week I visit him, and he will. He said he won't show me something, and then I will hear, of
Yeah,
course,
it's really
because
good.
we do.
Sounds like
We want.
old Riot. So it's really good,
Oh,
straightforward power metal. I mean, it's like U.S. based power metal. Yeah, it sounds like it definitely sounds like Riot off of Thunder Steel. Definitely has that kind of.
oh,
Oh yeah, yeah, very
that
impressive.
sounds good.
So
That. Oh, I'm waiting for.
I swear it sounds like Fight to Be Free off of Thunder Steel. Now, speaking of Pangea and Tales of the Weird, I know you've always used the lyrical talents of Akeem Dax Homerlane from one of my favorite bands, Vendetta. Have you been in touch with Dax in the last couple years?
I've sent it Dax the new album, and we talked a lot in between. He knew that this album, the lyrics for this album will write Peter Vogt.
Right, right,
I told him years before. It's no problem for Dax.
right.
Dax is a friend, a longtime friend, because I remember the times in the 80s when we went into the rehearsal room to Vendetta, and I was singing with them Savage Shoes and Leather
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. We copied, and we spent a lot of time together. These both bands, Vendetta and Paradox, and we are friends since the 80s, and so from time to time we talk again, and. Yes, I also played solos on Dax. He had a project,
Exochrist?
Exochrist,
Yeah, I have
and
that demo.
I played some solos on that. Yes, and Mickey did his project,
Brain
Brain
Damage?
Damage.
Yeah, I have that too.
Uh, yeah, I also helped him out a little bit,
Yep.
and yeah, we live very close, and I know there is a concert in the near future where I go to them watching.
That's awesome. You know, Dax was such a great lyricist for so many of your albums
Yeah,
when they followed that concept. But obviously, I didn't expect him to write lyrics for Heresy because Heresy II, the continuing story of the Cathars, everything like that. It made sense that Peter Vogt would revisit that and
yes,
continue that. So
yes, yeah, I totally agree, because he know what's happened there. He lived there, and he has a good view about, and but I'm still open with Dux because he's a good guy and Mickey is a good guy.
Definitely.
Mickey played in Paradox 1983
Yep.
under the banner of, I guess we called us
Overkill.
Oh no, Maniac. I guess it
Oh,
was
it's
Maniac.
Maniac. Okay.
Yeah, Overkill we started in '81.
Okay, so it's Maniac.
Yeah,
Okay.
and '84 and '85 we called us Warhead, but there was a Belgian band called
Belgian band,
Warhead.
of course.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, and that's why we changed the name in Paradox. We had a song Paradox, and we wrote this song 1984 or '85, and it's on our debut album, Product of Imagination. Huh?
Did you do
And
backing?
yeah, when we were searching for a new name for the band, it was easy because we had a song Paradox, and we said, "Oh, this sounds great," and the meaning of that is really good. Yes, it's mystic a little bit, and you don't know what it should be 200%. You know, it's a question, and so yeah, interesting.
Did you do backing vocals on Go and Live and Stay and Die?
Just in the rehearsal room,
Just in the rehearsal room. Okay.
I remember, how did this song called? I don't know. It
Brave
was a
Man
long.
Fails.
No, no, no. But I sang. I guess I sang one or two songs with them. But then I was too busy for Paradox, and it was clear that this couldn't work. And now I'm happy that Dux and Mickey changed the vocals on that album, and that yeah, it was the right decision that I stay in Paradox and Mickey and Dux do the Vendetta thing, because now we have two Bavarian bands who made classics. Yes.
Definitely. So you didn't do any of the only in the rehearsal, because I thought on I thought on the Suicidal Lunacy demo you also worked on that as well. But
Suicide Lunacy. Yes, this song I sang. Yes, Suicide Lunacy. Yes, yes. I remember. It
yep.
was, oh, I guess 86, it's 87,
No, it would have been
86.
'86 for sure, because Go and Live, Stay and Die came out in '87, and Brain Damage came
Yeah,
out in '88 on both on Noise Records.
yeah, Noise Records. Yes. It was. When I remember these times, my heart opens because
Mine too.
this this was really special.
Yeah,
This you can compare the feeling, if you compare this to nowadays
I agree.
it's completely different. You had no trolls in internet, you had no bad comments. When heavy metal people met, it was just a family, and everybody was happy when they met us, when they met in concerts and talking. um, there was no hate, and the market, the market was not so big. Now you have 150 albums per month, and
No kidding.
who should hear to an album with 75 minutes? Fuck, this is not possible, you know. So you have to take time for this album. This is not just an album. Heresy II is not an album for one run. This is this. Yeah, it takes longer. And who has this time? So we expected. Not the best reviews, but we've got the best reviews. We got great reviews over all the world with this album now.
That's good to
I'm very
hear.
happy. I'm very, very happy. I'm very grateful for this.
Well, especially when we live in a digital age, and most of us heard this album digitally as a promo from AFM first, and you can't really absorb it just listening to it digitally. I was so grateful when AFM rushed a copy of CD for me to have and listen to and play with lyrics before I did this interview, because I wanted to sit down and really, even if I had to use a magnifying glass, read these
Yeah,
lyrics and just absorb them and get into the story. And like you said, it's 75 minutes of music. It's a lot to take in. And then
yeah,
you've got all different kinds of thrash going on. I mean, you almost got black metal going
yeah. A
you
Man of
know,
Sorrow. A
I
man
was
of
gonna say, Man of Sorrows almost has a little bit of black metal with some of the blast beats and the fast picking, and
Yeah.
and
Just the vocals are clean, but the riffs. When I
oh,
wrote this song, I remember I said, "Oh, this sounds black metal like." If
oh
I
yeah,
would
it
do
does.
arrangements on it. Yeah, but it should. This album is the atmosphere album of Paradox. No
Right, right,
album of
right.
Paradox has so much atmosphere like this. And I knew I wanted to create something special, and I knew this will be a big thing, and a lot of work. Uh, but now I'm, yeah, totally satisfied with everything.
How do you remember all those words? Even some parts we have to repeat over and over. How do you remember some of those words?
Oh, this happens when you record because you repeat each line. I don't know how much,
Okay,
how
okay.
often, how
Countless times.
often.
Okay.
It is a thing. You read the line, and then how could I sing on that? And then you learn and learn and learn. It's yeah, learning by doing. Yeah.
So repetition is the mother of all learning. Repetitio
Yeah.
est mater diligentum, as they say in
Yeah,
Latin.
but there was some lines in Children of a Virgin where I had some problems first. How could I put so much words in one line, and how could I sing this? I must talk. I can't sing. I
Right,
have
right.
no space. I have not enough space, and so. And Peter advised, "Hey Charlie, you just have to play with the words." And I say, "Oh, I have to play a lot." But
Yeah.
it worked. It worked. It worked. Yeah.
But it's still cool, and it's so cool because it's still your unique vocals, your Bavarian accent, But at the same time, the telling the story, and it just works. And like you said, it's a lot to take in. When I first
Yeah.
listened to the promo a couple of times, obviously there was the videos that you put out, and they had the lyrics for the lyric videos, um, and those helped. But even it took a while to absorb it. But there was nothing for me listening to it on my stereo on a CD with the booklet in hand. That's why, like I said, that's where I even noticed the typos. But I just think it made so much sense. But I kept thinking, how does he keep all this stuff in mind? I mean, it's easy to keep the synopsis and the basis of the story in mind, but how does he keep all these words? But like you
I
say,
had.
rehearsal and
Yes, I never had so many words in on an album.
I did.
I don't know how many pages I had. I guess it was 40 pages, and I said, how could I sing this all? But I tried, and it was a lot of work. I worked just on the vocals. I worked for 3 months, and I was empty. My batteries were empty after this because I did all these chorus in the back. I did by myself. Everything what you hear,
Yep.
there is no other musicians in. It's just my voice,
Yep.
and all chorus what you hear, and the backing harmonies are all my vocals. And this was very difficult and some high stuff. And but I like the vocals most of all. So
Well, it's an excellent
yeah.
performance. Absolutely.
Yeah, if I compare to all other albums, then I guess I did my best performance together with Tales of the Weird and Heresy One. I was young, and
We all were. Well,
and, and,
and
and I guess the second part is more adult.
well, Dax is a vociferous, voluminous lyricist as well. But
Yeah, yeah, it's not easy for a German, and because I'm not perfect in English, but
of course,
you try all what you can, and talking a lot, and then you learn more and more, and it's easier for me to understand that than to talk. But I guess if I went to Florida and as a tourist, and it was great for me to learn the language, talking a lot to the Americans, and also if when I do the interviews, I come more and more in a flow, and then I guess people understand what I'm talking about, and so yeah, with the years you learn more and more.
definitely. Well, you're very articulate. I think your English is fantastic. Now, you've had a
Thank you.
long-standing relationship with AFM, going on 20 years now. Will they
Yeah.
ever have plans to reissue the early Paradox albums that obviously Roadrunner put out and then Metal Mind bootlegged? Is there ever a plan for AFM to actually put those out?
No, AFM will not put that out. I guess I asked once because many people would like to hear them, and they are sold out everywhere.
Oh yeah.
If you go on in eBay or something like this, I saw prices of $400.
Uh
You
huh.
know, this is not good for this is not good, and. There will be a re-release of both albums, and we will announce that very soon from Product of Imagination and Heresy.
That's good because I have the
On
original.
vinyl and on CD.
Oh, that's good to hear because I have the original of both albums uh,
Yeah,
on cassette and CD, and then I have the Metal Mind remaster. But you probably didn't get
yeah,
paid. You probably didn't get paid for the Metal Mind versions, did you, from Poland, right?
yes, yes. And there is so many people ask for these both albums, and I have a dream to put the first and the second Heresy album together in a box set or
Oh,
something.
that's even better. That's nice.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. I don't know if that is possible, but we will see, and we're working for that and asking for that more, and then we will see what we can do.
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I know the Metal Mind that I listened to this morning had some demos on it, and I think it even had a video or something. And the gold discs were supposed to be the big deal of sound quality, but it's not that much better in sound quality than the original. But
No, very close.
yeah, but
Yeah.
honestly, I think my cassette of Paradox Heresy sounds better than anything.
Oh, really?
Well, that's the first thing I ever had was a cassette, and I played it to death back in 1990, and I still think that sounds better than any version of Heresy I've heard, both digitally and on CD. But now I assume that the vinyl version of Heresy 2 will
Yeah.
be a double vinyl, right?
A double vinyl,
Yeah.
yes, in two colors,
Oh, two
and
colors.
a red one, and I guess something the colors like rust.
Okay, yeah, like the color. Okay.
Brown like, brown red like, and it's a double album, yes.
Yeah, I figured with the length, 75 minutes, it wouldn't be if it's
Yeah,
same.
yeah, 75 minutes you have to do because then the quality would be too bad if you would put this. No, I guess it's not possible to put 75 minutes on just one LP.
No,
So
no, no. But on the CD, it fits fine. The packaging that AFM did for the Digipack that I have is excellent. It's very sturdy Digipack. It's a snap down. It's a very well done booklet in mahogany kind of sepia tones. Great prologue at the beginning, great synopsis at the beginning, little vignettes of what's going on for each song, going into what's happening with the story or what's happening with her, or what's happening with him, with the priest, or what's happening with,
with
Rebecca and all that stuff. And it just takes you back.
what I wanted to say is, I guess we made it able to transport our sound, which is clearly rooted in the old school, into the present. So if you listen to the first part and in Heresy 2, it reminds on when the drums are when the drums starting, it reminds on the first part of Heresy,
Right.
and this is a good combination. These both albums, the Heresy 89 and Heresy 2021.
Right, right. Well, and that you're right. Right after that intro with the bells and the wind and the storm and everything like that, it's almost like it picks up with like the next chapter, which is
Yes,
basically what it is. You're right. It's hard to believe it's been 3 decades, but I
yeah,
mean, that's what's and it's good about the technology today that that you can do that, and it's good that you have a label like AFM who promotes you and sticks
yeah,
with you, and now it's like
yes.
you said, you've got a solid lineup and you've got such killer talented musicians, and I'm glad
Oh,
that
yes.
Axel, is his. You would never know that he had taken a hiatus in drumming because he is hitting it hard. That is some fast thrash and drum in there, definitely,
Kicking, totally kicking ass.
definitely.
What he do? And it makes fun to go with him in the rehearsal room because this is power. This is power, and it reminds us on old days. And when we look in our eyes, and we are so surprised that we made it with this album. We talked about a lot, and it was really hard work, and so I'm really proud of him. Yeah.
Well, Charlie, I think you've put out an excellent album. I think the musicianship is top notch. The production is excellent. The story
Thank you.
is very well. I mean, it's just a good story that can really draw you in. It can make you think. If you study the history of the Cathars and you study the history of Rosicrucian and any of that stuff, it can really make you think, especially if you're stuck in a dogmatic or a religious background, to step outside the teachings of the church and kind of think for yourself. And I think it's
Yeah,
great that you're re-exploring that, revisiting that, because that's the one thing is what's old is new again, and what's new, the story continues, and it's fascinating because even the story itself would be over 1,400 years old. So it's it's
yeah.
it's so cool to see that, and it's an honor to speak to you again. And I really appreciate you taking the time to indulge me, especially since I'm such a huge Vendetta fan. So it's always fun to talk about Dax and Mickey.
Well, I have to thank for your support at first, and it's nice talking to you. And it feels always good when I hear somebody where I have the feeling, yes, this man like the music what I do, and this makes me happy. Each single fan, each single human who say, "Hey, Charlie, you did something right," and that makes me happy because I do this for just for passion and not for money. I do
Oh,
this
right,
just
right.
because it's this is my life, and I have still the fire in me to write another record, and I know I have a vision for the next record, how it should sound.
That's
And
amazing.
I guess some people will be surprised a little bit, but let's talk about later on
Yep.
because you have a vision and then you start writing a song, but then it finished totally different what you thought before, and so that's why just have a vision how the next album should sound.
That's good. That's good. And that evolution and that artistic integrity is what keeps us going. So
Yeah.
I admire that
And
too.
by the way, this end of a legend, yeah, this means not the end of Paradox. It's just the end of the series of Heresy
Oh
because
yeah, I figured it was the end of the story, not the band.
yes, yeah, it's the end of the story, and so now we come back at next
A new
uh,
new
with
concept.
something old school. Because if you listen Heresy 2 without all these harmonies, then you would hear a totally old school rhythm based on rhythm guitar record based on rhythm guitar.
Oh yeah.
And but I wanted to make some atmosphere with all that harmonies, and it was necessary for this story and everything to build up some atmosphere for it. And so, but that's why I said I'm so happy because this is a monument. It was so much work. Most of all, from all other records, I never spent so much time in one record, and because of the long playing time. But yeah, now I'm finished, and my head goes free now, more and more. Yeah, yeah.
That's good. Now you
That's
can
good.
all that work. Now you can kick back and relax and just enjoy the fruits of your
Relaxing.
labor.
Yes, relaxing. Yes, I need it.
All right. Well, you take care. Auf Wiedersehen. Thanks for sharing, and I'll continue to promote the new album.
Oh, thank you, Michael, and hope we talk again with the next album.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you,
You bet.
and have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye.